welcome to day 4 of the Cryptid Road Trip Adventure. All ready to go. The Smithsonian opens in a little bit. Have my cards ready. There's one exhibit I know that's in there that we're gonna go see, but might stay a little bit longer just to poke around and see if there's anybody else in there. It's the world's biggest museum, so it's has a lot of stuff in there. Finally figured out a parking situation. Had to remember how to parallel park, then figure out how pay meters work, especially when there's not markings for your slot. You just kind of have to pay in general, then get a ticket. But now I need to walk to all 3 places for 2 p.m. It's about 3 hours, which sounds reasonable. So I think I'm gonna start. Actually, let me check a map, then I'll go from there.
Here I am at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, and definitely not doing a voiceover months later. But to start off with what I came here for is the Hope Diamond, and like an absolute ding-dong, I only took about 22 seconds of film for something that has about 400 years of history. I was planning on originally just taking videos and commentating over the more cryptid, paranormal stuff, but there's so many cool cultural stuff I decided to include all of that and then cut out the rest of the natural stuff of the Natural History Museum. So if you see anything cool, you can just pause the video on a good frame and read the little placard about it. But to start off, supposedly the Hope Diamond brings bad luck to anyone who wears it, let alone even owns it. And it's supposedly stolen from a statue of the Hindu goddess Sita, and from then on, with it being stolen, had a curse applied to it. And with this long list of owners from then on, they had some sort of misfortune while it was in their possession. But looking back at its actual history, it was in fact obtained from India, and then sold to the royalty of France. But then during the French Revolution, it was stolen and eventually appeared in England, which was then sold to a gem collector and then sold again into America to a wealthy family. And at this time, while I was in the McLean's possession, the curse started popping up, even though it's been around for about 300 years. But looking back at the list of previous owners, not that too much like bad luck or out of the ordinary bad luck happened. The first owner lived a long, healthy life, along with the first few, and then the French Revolution happens. And that was pretty bad for them. And then it popped up again in England, where the owners again lived pretty long lives. And then around the late 1800s, some bad luck kind of happened, where the owner had bankruptcy and was forced to sell it, but then again had a long life. And the person he sold it to divorced and died poor, but again had a long life. And then just about everybody after that had a long life. And once the idea of a curse was attached to the Hope Diamond, the value of it went up. And then it was sold to a jeweler, which then sold it to the Smithsonian, which is there today. And once the Smithsonian owned the Hope Diamond, their attendance actually went up. So it was actually a good thing for them owning it. And from then on, nothing really bad happened to it. It's always been on display behind the glass. And that's a pretty good summary of the Hope Diamond. And for my rest of the visit here at the Smithsonian, I'm just going to do a sort of silent walkthrough of the rest of the exhibits. I filmed a lot, but I actually decided to not include a whole bunch of exhibits, just the like culturally relevant ones. So I hope you enjoy that.
To Coudersport, Pennsylvania, tonight's venue for nature's light show. The Milky Way, a glowing vertical stream of stars marking one arm of our galaxy, sweeps across the sky to the tune of crickets, frogs, and coyotes. Stars continue to whirl overhead. Some set in front of you to the west, while new ones rise in the east. We're waiting for one group of stars in particular. Here it is. The one astronomers call Messier 45. This open star cluster in the constellation Taurus contains over 1,000 young stars that shine blue. But only a handful of the brightest are easily visible to the naked eye. Messier 45 goes by many different names around the world, and different cultures recognize anywhere between 5 and 13 stars. You might know it as the Seven Sisters.
Ίσως η πιο διάσημη ιστορία των 7 αδελφών έρχεται από την Ελλάδα, όπου τις αποκαλούμε Πλειάδες. Perhaps the most famous story of the Seven Sisters comes from Greece, where we call them the Pleiades. In ancient Greece, the Pleiades were the 7 daughters of the Titan Atlas and the sea nymph Pleione.
The hunter Orion pursued us so to help us escape. Of the god Zeus turned us into stars so we could be near our father. But we didn't escape forever. When Orion died, he became a constellation too, still chasing us across the sky.
While Greek culture has been a huge influence on Western astronomy, lending names to many features of the night sky, we aren't the only people who tell stories about this star cluster.
이란 까랍때 야음모시다 대화너 신립 우다라 예탄 노즈 어르시베 그게 쿠시네나. Greetings from Yaomoshiri. Let me tell you the stories our Ainu ancestors told us about these stars. Tan noju usaine dekoro. These stars are called many different names. Ainu otta arepohi iwan noju 6 stars, Arawan noju 7 stars, Horanne noju lazy stars, Tuita sabot noju stars that ran away from working in the field. Matnaike, ladies' hip, Rupopo noju seporo areko, singing and dancing stars, and so on. Yakun tan noju orushpe, Toita sawot, toran menoko taroloshpe, nua enkoneam. Now, please listen to a story of lazy sisters who ran away from working in the field. There were once 6 stubborn and lazy sisters. One day, 3 hard-working brothers came and said, "Why don't you stop playing around and work the fields a little?" The sisters replied, "Our hands will get dirty. If your hands get dirty, we can wash them in the river. If we do, we'll fall in the river. If we fall in the river, you can grab hold of the grass on the banks. If we grab the grass, we'll cut our hands. How we wish we were stars, then we wouldn't have to do anything." The 3 brothers got angry, so the stubborn sisters got on a boat and ran away. The 3 brothers chased after them, but could not catch up though they tried. The Kamui, or spirit deity, saw this and turned the stubborn sisters into stars to teach everyone a lesson. Even today, these stars hide in the spring when the fields get busy and come out in the winter after the field work is done.
E ai ki te iwi Māori o Aotearoa, ko matari ki te ingoa o tēnei kāhui whetū, te tohu, te tauho. In Aotearoa o New Zealand, Māori call this cluster matariki, an important marker of the new year. Ko te ingoa matariki, te whakarāpapototanga o te kōrero, ngā mata o te ariki, tāwhiri mātea. Ara, ko ngā karu o te atua, tāwhiri mātea. Matariki is the shortened version of ngā mata o te ariki, tāwhiri mātea, which means the eyes of the god, tāwhiri mātea. When Rangi Nui, the Sky Father, and Papatuānuku, the Earth Mother, were separated by their son Tāne, all of their sons were with us, except Tāwhiri mātea. The god of weather became very upset and angry. In his grief, he plucked out his eyes and threw them into the sky. The name Matariki describes this entire cluster, as well as a single star within the group. Matariki, the mother, is connected to health and good fortune. Each of her 8 children has a particular significance for the year to come. Pōhutukawa is connected to the dead. Tipuānuku is connected to food grown in the ground. Tipuārangi is associated with birds, fruit and berries, food from the sky. Waiti is connected to fresh waters. Waitā is associated with the ocean. Waipunarangi is connected to rain. Ururangi determines the winds for the year. Hiwaiterangi is connected to the heart's desires. Send her your dreams for the year, much like wishing on a star or making a New Year's resolution. Matariki's rising in the northeast just before sunrise only happens in the southern hemisphere's midwinter months of June or July, making it the perfect marker for the new year. The Matariki holiday is a time of celebration, remembrance and renewal. Matariki became a national public holiday in New Zealand in 2022.
Star stories are part of our shared human heritage, connecting us through time and across cultures. And though we could keep telling stories all night, back in Coudersport, Pennsylvania, the sun is about to come up. So next time you're under a starry sky, look up. Which stories do the stars reveal to you?
And to finish things off with one more quick story about the Okapi of all things, which was a former cryptid until 1901 when it was officially discovered. But before that, it was called the African unicorn by Europeans for being like a mixture of all these different animals like a zebra, a donkey, and a giraffe. And for it being overall rare to find that this relatively large animal was nowhere to be seen, thus giving it the cryptid status.
So I finally got out of the Smithsonian of Natural History after about 2 hours. I guess I only have 1 hour left to do the last two pictures. But I made it here to the World War II Memorial. And this would be a pretty nice picture in general. But I think I want a little something special. And there's a little Easter egg around here I'm going to have to try and find, because I don't remember exactly where it is. I think it's like across the way maybe. So I found what I was looking for right next to the Pennsylvania pillar, which is on the back half of the memorial. And apparently there's another one on the other half by the Delaware pillar. Can't see him on the camera, but it's Kilroy. And Kilroy was like a meme for World War II amongst the soldiers, where the origins of him was a man named James Kilroy, I think that was his name, was a ship inspector when the ships were being made for war. And he would scrawl his name saying Kilroy was here, saying that this part is completed and ready to be put on the ship. So when the sailors got on their ship, obviously they don't know who Kilroy is, but they just see his name saying Kilroy was here all over the ship. And then when they arrived in Europe, they had a cartoon of a strange bald man, like the one here, peering over a fence. And then the soldiers graffitied them together saying Kilroy was here, kind of just combining memes. But surprisingly, they would still do that on the war front. And whenever like Lane was claimed by the Allies and then reclaimed by the Axis, they would see Kilroy was here, and they thought it was all just the same person. So they thought Kilroy was like some sort of super soldier spy, infiltrating their front lines. But I suppose I should check out the Delaware one. I think that one's in the sun. Might be better for picture. Here's the memorial, or the World War II memorial. There's Washington Monument, and the reflective pool, and then the Lincoln Memorial way over there. When I came here with my family on a vacation, the reflective pool is drained, and I didn't realize that it was kind of sloped inward to a channel in the middle. It was kind of neat seeing that because not a lot of people get to see that. So coming up on the Delaware pillar, up on this other half. I'm assuming he's going to be in the same spot. Yep, there he is. Got two engravings of Kilroy right next to the whoops, I still zoomed in, Delaware pillar. Now I have about an hour left to get from here all the way to the other side of Washington DC to the Capitol building. Don't think I'm gonna make it, so I might have to swing by my car and put more in the parking meter. It's a lot more walking than I was expecting. I thought it was more compact. But everything's pretty spread out, so you get to enjoy each piece in all its glory. I suppose while I'm walking, might as well do the little clip about. Yeah, I'll just do hello, Uncle Sam right now. Then I'll do the Hope Diamond later because I want to be quiet in the museum. So I skipped that part, but I'll add that in post. So Uncle Sam was a, I guess like a political cartoon created during World War I, but most famously used in World War II to help get people to volunteer for the war. It's the oh shoot, what does it say? I want you to join the U.S. Army, or something like that. No, yeah, that's it. Kind of mixing up Uncle Sam saying with Smokey the Bear's saying of only you can prevent wildfires. So in my head I was thinking only you can join the U.S. Army, but that's not right. But people believe that he was originally created after a character or a person named
Samuel Wilson.
I think he was like an author of sorts, kind of like a major figure in like the government formation of the U.S. But Uncle Sam wasn't the first personification of America. That would be Columbia, who was a woman in like a American flag dress. She often had a shield with her. We saw that at Henry Church's Rock, but she wasn't super popular. There's actually a statue of her on the Capitol building, which is where I'm heading to next. But from the ground, she's super tiny, but I think she's actually like 10 feet tall on the statue, which is really big. But during World War II, that poster became so famous, and with Uncle Sam and his American flag suit, that just became the new personification of America. So yeah, I'll see you when I get to the Capitol building. I guess as I circle the Washington Monument, right there it is. Not a lot of people know, but there's actually a small replica under the ground right next to it. It's under like a manhole covering. So it's probably like maybe like 2 feet at most in diameter. But I wonder why they made a small replica and just put it in the ground. I guess it was like this is what it's gonna look like. Here's my blueprint model. But also about the Washington Monument, this wasn't the original Washington Monument. The original is in, I want to say, further west in Maryland. It looks more like a sort of medieval stone tower, like stacked rocks. But gotta go big. This one's certainly much more impressive. So I made it all the way to the Capitol building and I missed my car. So I thought I parked somewhere else, but I'm gonna have to double back for that. But checking the time in my schedule, I'm definitely gonna be out of time if I go on a tour of the Capitol building. There it is, where the demon cat was first spotted in the, oh man, which one is it? The Civil War, because during the Revolutionary War it didn't exist. So during the Civil War, someone in the basement spotted this strange cat, and then when they got closer, it kind of freaked out and hissed at them, and it appeared to grow in size. And then from then on, it would be occasionally spotted doing kind of the same thing, but of course, when people go looking for a cat in the basement, they can't find any possible entrance for it, so it just kind of appears and disappears. And then as the years go on, its radius kind of expanded to the other buildings in Washington, D.C., including the White House. So, so as it grows in size, it's reported to start off as like a normal cat, sometimes a black cat, sometimes a tabby. It varies from encounter to encounter. But I'm gonna go this way. Okay. But yeah, the color of the cat varies, and then the size it grows to also varies from all the way up to the size of an elephant, which is pretty big. I think it might just be, so you know how when cats get scared, they kind of puff up their fur and arch their back, and it makes it look like they're getting bigger. It might be an exaggerated version of that. But also in the Capitol building, there's a few other ghost stories. One of which that I can remember is that there's a ghost janitor who died on the clock, and now he forever wanders the halls, forever doing his job. And when I first got hired at the post office that I work at, my trainer told me a similar story, that an employee died and on the clock, and you can still see him wandering around for a distance, but then when you get close, he disappears. I've been there for about over 2 years now, and that's the only time I heard of it, that's the only time I've heard of it, or I haven't even seen anything spooky there. I think it's further down. Yeah, it's further down. So yeah, if employers ever figure out that if you kill your employees on the clock, then as ghosts, they'll just forever do their work without pay. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Finally found my car. I remember parking in front of the National Gallery of Art, but as it turns out, there's 3 of these buildings, so that was a little misleading. But arrived here just in the nick of time. Here just outside of Fort Meade, it's over there, because it's a restricted military base, and you can't just wander in saying, hey, come here, take a little vlog and a picture. But you can take a picture of the sign out front.
Fort Meade was the place where the Stargate Project was proposed and tested, which is a project that was seeing the military applicant of psychic abilities, and the research led nowhere, surprisingly, because it started in 1987 and it ended in 1955 after failing to produce any useful results. But in it, applicants would try to guess the card or what someone was thinking, and it was hoped to gather information from foreign countries or foreign agents nearby, just try and get another leg up on the information area. The U.S. government first came about this project in the relatively recent phenomenon during the time of psychics in the different countries, like in Europe, mainly the UK had a bunch of psychics, and they were obviously fake, but they were very silver-tongued in the way they performed, making it look very real, and they kept on insisting that they were the real thing. And the military were like, hey, you could probably use this, but it just ended up being a colossal waste of money. But at least they know now that the answer is no. Cemetery for Black Aggie, and I was looking up where she is exactly, and I couldn't find like a map of it, like where it to point me, so I'm just gonna have to wander around this graveyard like I did last night in Shelbyville. But when I was looking up her location, it seems that her actual statue is in Washington, D.C., which is where I was earlier this morning, and just the pedestal remains here. But since I'm now here, I guess I'll just take a picture of the pedestal if I can find it. Not seeing anything around, because I know what it looks like, and obviously the surrounding areas of the picture doesn't really help, but hope I can find her, or it, because I'm looking for the pedestal, and she's in Washington, D.C. for some reason. I haven't looked up that part yet.
So I'm pretty glad I just happened to instantly come here to the right spot. Right here, and I'll add a map of where exactly this is. So use the surrounding area. And then here's the pedestal of the Agnes family. So it was originally made in 1826. It's a replica of another statue, but eventually this particular statue got some legends attached to it, in that if you spend the night on her lap, which doesn't sound very comfortable, you'll be haunted by all the residents from the graveyard. But the family, the Agnes family, and the owners of the graveyard weren't happy with people breaking in to do that. So the statue itself was donated to the Smithsonian, and it's still there today at the Museum of Art. So that would have been cool to see earlier today, but I wasn't aware that that happened. And another portion of the legend, so I guess the sun is setting over there, so the sun would arc from over here and over there, but either side of where the shadow of the statue would lay, the grass wouldn't grow in the daytime. But this was removed in 1967, I think. So yeah, the grass is obviously here. But interestingly enough, there's still quite a bit of discoloration where the statue was. And then there's just a bare slate right here. You got a guy in the back. General Felix Agnes. He's got some carvings on him. Some initials. A few other stories attached to the statue is that also at night that it would animate and move around and have glowing red eyes. But I guess with it not being here, it did technically move. But it is kind of creepy knowing the legend of the statue, then having it not be here. But yeah, I'll take my picture, then move finally east. No, not east. I've been going east all this time. West. And then while I'm here, I might as well show off who's buried here. So we have Anne and Felix, which was the guy on the back. And then Annie Fulton, who's the wife of Agnes. So, is this the daughter? Yeah, it looks like no, 1804. So I guess that's the mother of Felix, and then he's buried with his wife. Then you had a spooky statue. All right. When planning this trip, I couldn't quite find a good spot for Snallygaster in Frederick. I know that farmers believe that a 7-pointed star can ward off the beast, and sometimes, even today, they still have the 7-pointed star on their barns. I couldn't find any when driving through and out, so I came a little bit further to West Virginia to the Snallygaster Cafe. Because I'm gonna eat dinner there and see how it is. But about the Snallygaster is that when German immigrants came to this area, gotta take my foot off the brake. When they came to this area, they brought over their beliefs, and the Snallygaster was one that they brought to this area. Snallygaster means quick ghost, and you might be thinking, Snallygaster, it's not a ghost, it's a dragon. But ghost for them, like poltergeist, meaning noisy ghost, and bargeist, meaning town ghost. More like our word for cryptid, in that they kind of just appear and disappear at random, and if you go looking for them, you can't find them at all. So, not quite a spirit ghost, but a ghost in the sense that they disappear easily. So I think that's about it. Oh, I might have said this, but I can't remember. They believe that the Snallygaster would come down and swoop their livestock like cows and horses, so they paint the stars on their barns to keep them away. Here in Fremont, West Virginia, there's a 2-for-1 special going on where there's actually 2 monsters here, more or less. The first one is Ogua, I think that's how you pronounce his name, which is a giant turtle that appears in the river here, from here all the way north to Pittsburgh. And then the Veggieman, who appeared one time out in the woods surrounding Fremont. I can't quite exactly pin where. I inferred it's in the woods because the guy was hunting when it happened. But let's start with Agua, because I'm right next to the spot where I'm going to take his picture. But Agua, also known as the Ravesville Monster, maybe it's the type of saying Riverville Monster. I don't know. The Holt Monster, and he appears in the Monongahela River, which is the river that runs through Fremont. And he is a giant snapping turtle, like 20 feet long, which is absolutely huge. The Beast of Busco, which is also reported to be a giant snapping turtle, is about 4 feet long. So this is significantly bigger. And he dates back all the way to at least 1754 when the settlers came here. But Indians of the area report it being much longer back. So that first date was when a 12-year-old boy was swimming in the river and then was pulled under by something, and he was never seen again. So people believe Ogua got him. And sometimes he's reported to have 2 heads, other times just 1, or the 2-head detail is omitted, and then you just infer that it's just 1 head. Some people believe that it is an alligator, which would match up most of the details, like the length of him, because world record for alligator size is about 19 feet. And how alligators will snatch their prey and then drag it underwater to drown it, and then do their death roll to twist its insides. And it can also go on land like alligators can. And just to throw this in there, the world record for crocodile size is about 22 feet. So right in that ballpark for crocodilians. And I think that's it for Ogua. Oh, and then although that he appears all the way up and down the river, he's mostly around Marion County, which is around Fremont. And then on to the Veggieman. So the Veggieman only ever appeared once when a man named Jennings Frederick was out bow hunting. So I just assumed he's out in the surrounding woods, because you have Fremont, and then all the way around it you have dense woods. So it could literally be anywhere around Fremont. And he was hunting in 1986 when he started hearing a strange like record playing sound / a high-pitched jabbering. And then he eventually found the source of the sound, and it was a 7-foot tall plant-based human or humanoid with like long arms and like suction cup fingers. And when he approached this creature, it started like making the high-pitched jabbering, and eventually Jennings could understand it. It said, "You need not fear me. I wish to communicate. I come as a friend. We know of you all. I come in peace. I wish medical assistance. I need your help." And then the Veggieman lunged at him and attacked him by piercing Jennings' I think it was his arm, with its fingers, and it started draining him of blood.
And as this attack was happening, Jennings couldn't break free at all. And he noted that its eyes were almost like hypnotic during it. And then just as quick as it happened, the Veggieman ran away over a hill and then was never seen from again. And Jennings reports that he also heard a deep hum after the Veggieman ran over the hill, and he assumes that it was the Veggieman spacecraft taking off. And then that was that's it for Veggieman. And obviously Jennings had wounds on his arm, but then when he got home, he lied to his wife, saying that he, I think, tripped in the woods or something along those lines, but he didn't tell the truth or his encounter until many years later, because he was pretty embarrassed about it. Like, he didn't want people to think he was crazy. But then he eventually decided to share his story. But I don't quite know where I want to take Veggieman's picture. So I guess I'm just gonna start with Ogua's right here in the river, and then maybe look around town a little bit for a nice plant area.
So I ended up finding a pretty clever spot, a emergency hospital, because the Veggieman was in like a weakened, sickened state, and then he got blood to make him heal or feel better, much like you can get a blood transfusion at a hospital. But fog started rolling in. It's now pretty creepy out here, very thick fog. So I wonder how big this fog cloud is, and if it will persist to the next town, which I think is relatively close.
Here in Grafton, for the Grafton Monster, of course. But I'm pretty excited about what I'm here to take a picture of. I think the train stopped. But I'm pretty excited about what I'm here to take a picture of, because I think it's well done and pretty neat. But I don't exactly know where it is. I think it's around the corner from in front of me. But anyway, the Grafton Monster. In 1964, a guy named Robert Cockrell was heading home from work at about 11 p.m. when he was driving down Yates Avenue, and he turned a corner, and all of a sudden this huge white obstruction, as he put it, was in the road, or crossing the road. It was about 7 to 9 feet tall and 4 feet wide, with white skin, no discernible head. So most depictions of him have his sort of facial features like on his chest, and a strange whistling noise coming from the creature. I don't know exactly like how he got around it or what he did next, but he got home, and then he called two friends, Jerry Morris and Jim Mauser, to come investigate the same night. And when they got back there, they found no sign except trampled grass and a strange whistling noise that followed them throughout their investigation, which is kind of creepy. And for as big as this thing is, and for it constantly making a whistling noise, it's interesting that they didn't find it. But also on that same night, Robert was gonna keep it to himself, his encounter, but then he got calls from 20 people, or 20 calls, about other sightings from the same night. And since he works at the newspaper, he wrote an article about it. And from then on, there's been a few more sightings, but there's been no evidence about it. Some people think it's, or actually one person thought it was an escaped polar bear in his witness report, but he didn't give any details as to where it could have come from, or where is it now. I think head editor for the newspaper, if I remember correctly, said it was just sort of like a mass hysteria kind of thing, where people mistook someone taking a trolley of boxes and mistaked it for a monster. But it's kind of hard for 20 people to do that. So it was definitely something. And I think that's all my notes. So I'm going to try and find what I came here for and take my picture. So I found him where I thought he was, but he's a little dark, so I got my lantern. So from, I guess, the main street where there's this furniture store. Oh, the camera's on me. This furniture store from the main street where the you can find this on Google Maps, and you can just put in Grafton Monster sign. It'll take you here, and it's in this sort of nice brick alley with these Christmas lights. And he's towards the back here. And here he is. Thought there was a little, like, paragraph placard around here. Maybe that was removed, because it looked like there's something here. But and I'll take my picture of him. Finally here at the last stop for today. We're gonna go to Brandy Gap Tunnel No. 2, if I remember that all correctly. But it was a tunnel created or constructed in 1854 to 55. 1850s, definitely. Don't remember the last digit. But it was then decommissioned in 1985. So it was functional for over 100 years. And then the company who owned it decided that it wasn't useful anymore, so they got rid of it. Or, well, they removed it from their system, but the tunnel still stands. I don't think there's tracks in it. I think it was paved over for hiking. But I'm assuming the legend started after it was decommissioned. So in the past 50 years, there's been ghost stories. That's why I have my lantern with me. Or wait, hold on. I'm in the tunnel. You can see. Drop to something. But in the tunnel, you can see the conductor's lantern, and you can hear a ghost train. So that's why I have my flashlight in lantern mode. I think we're coming up on it. It is about 4 in the morning. So the tournament starts in 9 a.m. And I think I have like another hour and a half drive. So that either means I
get to sleep for like an hour or two, depending on when the rest of the festival starts, or not at all. So I'm probably gonna have to track down like a Monster energy drink and then drink that throughout the day to stay active. Because I got everything ready for the tournament except for the digital submission, which I've been asking about, and there's been nothing posted, so everyone else is still waiting for that too. Alright, so that just keeps on going. So I'm gonna check the map real quick. And I took the wrong trail. But the distance I walked should be about the right distance. I figured it would have been on the high road. But I guess this is a nicely paved path as opposed to the gravel path on the lower road. So I guess I'll end the recording here and then start up again at the beginning of the actual path. Alright, now I seem to be on the right path. So I just have to walk the same distance there and then the same distance back. Oh, there it is. Thought it was like around a bend. So this whole path must have been the railroad at one point. But I wonder what's beyond. I guess just like a hike path. Wow, it's a deep tunnel. The rock face here. Got a pipe. And we have... Oh, can I go bright? Yeah, there we go. Let's back up a little bit for the picture. Alright, that should be good. Glad you can take photos. Let's go lantern mode. 1, 2, 3. Something keeps kicking up on my leg. No, this is very echoey. Wonder what all these white marks are. Probably deposits of minerals from running water. Wow, this is a lot taller than I was expecting. It's probably about 15 feet tall. Yeah, I wonder if the original railroads are just under this gravel. We've got a little recess here. Wonder if that's for any workers who are still in the tunnel when a train went by. That was their little alcove to run to. Yeah, there's one too. Because apparently a few people have died in this tunnel when a train comes by. Looks like this wall right here was bricked over recently, or more recent than the rest, because the coloration is different. And then there's a segment missing, like the foundation. Same on this segment here. Oh, but there is another alcove. Yeah, it just seems to be bare rock behind it. So this would be where they hop in. Wonder what all these little square metal pieces are. Maybe like rivet reinforcement. Here's some dripping water. If I stand still and be quiet. Yeah, from up here. Apparently there's also some sort of collapse that killed a worker and then injured 2 others. I think the drippings come from right here somewhere. Yeah, just in this general area there's dripping water. And yeah, this little hole is leaking. Cause I've seen a few little holes that just like 1 or 2 bricks could go in. So maybe that's for drainage to help the soil around the tunnel not erode the bricks as much like it is in this day. Holy smokes, this is a deep tunnel. Can't even see the entrance because I'm on lantern mode. I think I can see the end that we're coming up on. Or it's just more darkness in the tunnel. Oh yeah, my footsteps are echoing as much. This must be the end. Yeah, and the breeze feels stronger because it's super chilly. Yep, this is the end. So let's check out this entrance on flashlight mode. 3. So it just looks the same. Got a bunch of dripping water. I don't think it rained in this area recently because the ground's relatively dry. Oh yeah, you can see all the way through on my high power mode. Yeah, let's walk back in high power mode and just get more of the tunnel. Because we did the courage walk on lantern mode. So now we get to enjoy it on flashlight mode. And I wonder if you can see like the cave-in on the roof. Because this segment right here is more brick, and then this segment here is more mortar. But the mortar seems to go all the way to the other end. So I guess the cave-in was plastered over. Well, I'm surprised I didn't walk through any puddles because it's all
puddly on this end. I haven't heard anything besides dripping water in my footsteps. Oh, wow, I can see my breath. Man, the temperature has certainly dropped while I've been in here. Or it could just be my body heat escaping more because I've been out in this temperature for a while. So now it's like getting to me. Got an arrow just right there. That's the only sort of marking that I've seen. I guess there's a triangle of some sorts here. But the water seems to have eroded that a little bit, washed that away. Yeah, then the ceiling's back to brick from now on. So maybe that whole mortar segment was the cave-in. That would have been quite a bit. Would have figured it would have been like maybe a 10-foot segment. I got a little smiley face here. More new bricks. It's like in these tunnels. Yeah, just like drainage. Yeah, I wonder if the newer bricks were to help reinforce this entire structure. Surprised there's no like, oh yeah, there's a little bit. Some stalactites on the ceiling from the dripping water. But I guess like maybe maintenance comes by, takes off the big ones occasionally. Nope, we're coming up on the end. Oh wow, the bottom of this pipe's all rusted out. But yep, that was the tunnel. Yeah, there's no placard on either side either. All right, I'll get going finally to Point Pleasant and try and get a little rest. I just moved back to my car right there. And I tried seeing my breath again, and it's not. So it's just a lot colder in that one segment of the tunnel. It's pretty interesting. Wonder why that is. So I finally made it to Point Pleasant just as the sun's rising, about 2 hours before the tournament starts. And although I planned this whole trip for the past month, I didn't book my hotels until this Monday, and all the hotels within like a 1 hour radius of Point Pleasant are completely full for this weekend for the festival. So I guess for the duration of the festival this weekend, I'm going to be sleeping in my car. But as tradition, we check for bed bugs and dead bodies on their car. And there just so happens to be an urban legend about people or a person under your car who will stab your ankles. And there's no MetaZoo card, but I have a dagger stand-in for that. So this person would just hide under your car, stab your ankles, and then steal your car. And that's it. As far as I know, there's no actual reports of this, because this would be like a criminal offense. There would be police reports. There's no, it's all made up. But I remember when I was taking my driver's test, like I was reading the online manual about like everything to do. This was actually referenced saying that you should check under your car for lurkers. And like, what? Why would I ever need to do that? And then eventually I learned about this urban legend. I'm like, oh, guess interesting that it appeared up in my driver manual, even though it's not a true thing. So I guess I'll take a picture of under my car for this, because this was a bonus one. I didn't originally plan for this, but you know, can be pretty flexible if I'm just on my own. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up a little bit and prepare for the tournament. And then I guess right after that, start the video for day 4. Wait, this was day 4. Then I'll start for day 5 and possibly 6, because I think I'm going to combine both the festival days into one video, because there's no traveling that day. So see you later.
It makes you wonder what and possibly who else is out there.